It's been out for a while, but the Galaxy Note 8 unlocked models in the US have now got the One UI update, and we're going to review it here today, coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Today we're going to review the Galaxy Note 8 One UI update. Now this is super exciting. You could probably hear it in my voice because I'm always excited when an older phone gets the latest software update. This brings it in line with all the latest Samsung Galaxy S10 series as well as the Note 9 now. And yes, I could hear it from some people who are not in the US. That update has been on the Note 8 for a couple of months. You're old. That's late news. Well, it's actually not late news if you have an unlocked US model, which I have here. Unfortunately, we seem to get it last, so let me have my moment of excitement. This software update comes in at a whopping 1501.98 megabytes. If you only had the 64 gigabyte Note 8, you might want to consider making some space because this is a big boy. Now, what makes me so excited about this update is that One UI is very consistent. Samsung has really nailed it this year with the look of One UI. If you bought a Galaxy S10, for example, you're gonna see here when I show you in a minute that it looks almost identical, if not identical, to the software here on the S10. And the older Samsung Note 8, while it might have got the Oreo update or whatever, it had different color icons, like orange icons and some messages. Everything in One UI is more consistent, and that's exciting because it means that it breathes new life into the Note 8 and gives it a feeling that it's more like a newer phone than when you had it just a couple months ago when you had no update. So for a little more information, 1.0 Android 9 Pie. This is based on Google's Android 9 Pie, and you can see right there. So the first thing I want to cover is the cleaner aesthetic of the One UI for the Note 8. So the icons you can see right away are very different. They're actually larger too than before. Now, if you go ahead and go into home screen settings and you put the screen grid on 4:6, 5:5, they will get smaller and they'll go back to how they used to look, like the smaller icons. But if you do leave it where I had it at 4:5, you're getting almost iPhone sized icons on here. And some people don't like this whole, squircle icon thing. This thing it's looking a little more iOS like, but still has the customization of Samsung. So some people may not like these bubbles. You can see that's a consistent theme across the One UI. Bringing it down, you can see the notifications tray does come down to make things easier to reach one hand. Now, I had a comment from somebody who said yesterday, I don't see how the One UI makes anything easier to reach one hand. Well, if you can bring all this stuff down, I think it's easier to reach right here than to reach all the way up here. Also, the brightness slider being all the way at the bottom makes it easier. And you can also turn off the navigation bar to go ahead and reach that even better. So there's a lot going on here with One UI. Heading over into the settings of the Note 8 with this new software, you can see that we have like these little bubbles around here in the settings. You're going to see these typefaces across a lot of applications as well. And over here on the side, you could see colorful little icons to show you which setting you're going to be going into. So yeah, very consistent across the board. Looks exactly like the S10 Plus now in terms of usage. Okay, so let me showcase what I mean about the consistencies, how it's very consistent. So if I go into phone dialer, you can see this little bubble icon thingy around the recents. Now, if I go into clock, you can also see the bubbles around there. In addition, if I go into settings that we were talking about earlier, you can see right there. So that's what I'm saying. It's looking a lot cleaner than before. Now, if we go into the phone dialer, I also want to mention you have the ability to store up to 2,000 recents now. Before it was like 500 or something like that. So really, this is awesome as well. Now, I should talk about weather as well because weather on the Galaxy Note 8 looks a lot different now. So again, the consistency with the bubbles here just looks cleaner and just simpler to use than before. So I think you're gonna like this as well if you had Oreo on your Note 8 prior. And also they cleaned up the Files application, which also is consistent again. And this is what I'm saying. This is the best Samsung software I've seen yet. There are some gripes I have with it, but still overall, I think it is the best Samsung software ever. Okay, so you have the new navigation bar now. So before you had a little dot right here, and this is something that I think a lot of people are gonna miss, the ability to hide it with a tap. Now you have to go up here and go into navigation bar to hide the bottom, but you now have gestures, which is pretty much what every phone is starting to operate like now these days. You have the ability to go ahead and have gesture hints on if you don't know how to use them. At least until you learn them, you could keep those guys on right there. Again, navigation buttons will always still be available for you at your desire, but you don't have the dot anymore to go ahead and hide it whenever you want. I think Samsung will bring this back as some people are complaining about it, but for now, you got gestures or navigation navigation buttons. And I personally am preferring the gestures. It gives you the all screen look from your Note 8. Okay, here's a quick one. You can also go ahead and reply directly from the notifications tray. So I got a couple right here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull down. This is a test message from myself. I'm gonna go ahead and hit reply, and I can reply directly from the notifications tray itself. That's pretty nice stuff. In addition, I want to mention one of the biggest features of all on the One UI, and that is the night mode. This allows you to darken the whole interface without having to go into Samsung themes, find a theme, and theme it out yourself. Now it's dynamic, which means that it automatically adapts to different applications system wide. So in clock, you're going to see it gets darker. Phone, it gets darker. Combine that with an all black wallpaper. I'm not going to put it on now because I like this wallpaper, link down below if you were wondering. Well, you can have a totally really nice experience at nighttime. Even when you go into weather, that's also darked out. Put this on low brightness, blue filter at nighttime, and you have one of the most comfortable experiences you're ever going to see on your eyes. So really do like the night mode. It has the ability to be scheduled to the time that works for you. So if you know you get tired around 10:30 p.m., go ahead and schedule it to do so. So there you go. Night mode on your Note 8. Next thing is the way you multitask is going to be different. So if you're on the gestures, we're going to swipe up from the right. That's the way I have it set up. You can also put it over here on the left if you want it that way, but I'm a right hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and go like that. You have the dock down here. This is also new for the One UI. Now you go side to side. Again, similar to what the iPhone does, similar to the Pixel, similar to the Huawei devices. Everything is going side to side right now in the smartphone multitasking game. So one thing that is different is to go ahead and multitask now. You don't just hold down and swipe up to the top to do a split screen. You now have to click the top of the app. Then you go ahead and click split screen view, pick your application, put it in there. And here's one gripe I do have with One UI. I don't have the ability to go ahead and just flip them around whenever. I really do not like this on One UI. And this is one thing I want Samsung, if you're watching this video, bring it back. This applies to all of your Samsung devices. Go ahead and give us the ability to at least flip that thing around again, because I do miss having that. And you also have the ability to go into pop view. So we can pop view right here. And a new feature as well in multitasking is the ability to have a transparent application. Now, why is this useful? LG has been doing this for a while, but Samsung finally brought it here because you can't see sometimes what's behind the screen when you got this application in the way. Also, you can go ahead and bring it down like so. So the multitasking abilities are not gone. Your Note 8 still retains all of that stuff, but the way you navigate multitasking is a little bit different. I just showed you right there. You're gonna have to get used to it, but at the same time, after a while, you do get used to it and it'll be just fine. Okay, so wallpapers. Now, this is not a big deal to a lot of people because you can just download your own, as I did here. I left the link down below. I got it on Zedge, so if you want to go ahead and get more great wallpapers, check out Zedge. But in wallpapers, if I go here, Samsung usually does this. They'll leave the wallpapers that they put originally. Now, why I don't like this is because it just looks odd. Like, the new icons go with the Galaxy S10, so give us the Galaxy S10 wallpapers in here. That's even better consistency. The gallery is also a bit different, but it just kind of, again, it's just in line with the One UI. So you have everything in this little bubbles right here. So just again, just right in line with the One UI. So just wanted to mention that. So in the keyboard settings, you do have Unicode 11.0 new emojis here. Also, if I go over here into the modes, we do have the ability to have a floating keyboard here on the Samsung. So we could drag this thing around, again, just adding more productivity to an already very productive device. Now, if I go to modes here, bring it back down to the standard keyboard. In addition, you already had this before, but one-handed keyboard remains as it should. This is also dynamic and works well with night mode. So if I go into night mode, the keyboard does turn dark as it should. Why would we have a white keyboard with a dark background? Samsung thought of that as well. So that's pretty awesome. Other than that, you can go ahead and resize the keyboard as well. If I go to keyboard size, you can resize it right here from the, quick modes right here. So overall, the keyboard is very nice. You can also pull your S Pen out and set it up where it'll automatically detect the S Pen. I think it was able to do that before, but just wanted to mention that one more time. So yes, very productive keyboard, has all the features right there in the settings. You don't have to go into extra settings. It's all right here in a quick setting. So awesome keyboard update here. It works very well. There's no major changes to the S Pen except for the icons here and Air Command do look a little bit different than before. They're, again, just updated for One UI. Create a note. It's pretty much the same stuff here as before. You still have your live message, you still have translate, Bixby Vision. Again, it's just the way it looks, the aesthetics are just a little bit different. If we hit Smart Select, you can see this is slightly different looking, just in line with the One UI. So in S Pen settings, you could see most of it is pretty much the same stuff as we had before. Okay, so you still have the one-handed mode, which is awesome. You can still, go ahead and drag it to resize it, which is great. Going side to side, awesome stuff. Going in the settings, you can enable it by triple tap or a gesture. I prefer the gesture. You can set it up however you like, but one-handed mode remains, which is great stuff. Now, also, if we go into settings, the device care is new. So it used to be called device maintenance. Now in here, they changed the name to device care, a little bit easier, I think, for the average person to understand. Maintenance is a bigger word than care, so I think that's a little bit simpler. You do have pretty much the same look and feel. Again, bubbles around things, right in line with One UI. But one thing I will mention is if we go over here to the Edge panel, you no longer have the ability to manage your device care from the Edge panels. So that's not available no more. You used to have device maintenance in the Edge panels, not here anymore. If you liked doing that, that's gonna annoy you a little bit, but to me it's not a big deal because the phone runs good without even maintaining it anyway. Now, another new thing with this Samsung is lift to wake. Similar to raise to wake on iPhone, bring it up now and it will lift to wake. You can go ahead and hit your fingerprint sensor, you'll be in. Also, I have face unlock enabled, but I'm behind the camera, that's why it didn't unlock. Now I want to go into settings and show you a couple other things. Advanced features brings you something that I've been waiting for Samsung to put for a while, and that's the ability to reduce animations. Now with doing this, you can go ahead and now no longer see any stuttering when you are going into applications on the Samsung device. Well, that was a little bit of a slow delay, but still, that was not a stutter. Now if I go into calculator, you can see just no animation, and I think a lot of people are really gonna like using this. I use this on pretty much every Samsung S10 I got now. I don't ever really have it turned off anymore because it just makes the phone feel faster. But you can see the smoothness of One UI on the Note 8 is incredible and brings new life to it. It just feels smoother, snappier, and just more efficient than before. Also, you have a new always on display look as well as a lock screen look. You can see this clock is more like the S10. Now if I turn it off, I can go ahead and tap to show my always on display. You couldn't do that before. So one thing that's not on the Note 8, you can see if you look to the right on the Galaxy S10, double tap to wake right there, that's not available here. So you still have to click the power button or, go ahead and use your fingerprint sensor to get in. So there's no way to do that double tap to wake here, at least from Samsung settings. You might be able to do it with some, application or something like that, but not from One UI itself on the Note 8. So I've only had One UI on this phone for about a day and a half, 2 days, but I can tell you right now, one thing that's been making me excited is that the battery life hasn't taken a huge hit. Now, when you get new software, you get a little bit afraid that your battery life is going to suffer by doing this, and this is not the case for One UI. I might even be seeing a little bit better battery life. I can't say 100%, but I haven't been really draining as fast as I thought it was. The phone also isn't getting too hot. So I think Samsung did a good job optimizing the software for the Note 8 before they went ahead and released it. Maybe that's why it took a little bit longer. I don't know, but it was worth the wait because we're not seeing massive drop-offs in battery life on this first version. And I have to mention before we wrap it up, the camera user interface is different from before. Bixby Vision up here, AR emoji is now here. You have photos here. You can go ahead and pull this here into telephoto or standard wide, live focus off to the left, pro mode over here for photos, panorama, food, and we could swipe over in the middle or at the bottom, slow motion right here, super slow motion right here, video. Looks identical to the Galaxy S10. Now, one thing a lot of people don't like is they removed the pro mode for video, which is annoying if you used pro mode quite a bit. So that you might not like about this software. And all your settings are right there. So camera UI just a little bit different. And one thing that's also different is the way it sounds when you do take a picture. So let me turn the system volume up, go back to camera settings, and let's hear it. 3, 2, 1. Sounds more like a DSLR. 3, 2, 1. So I really do like the way this sounds. It's very satisfying. Just a little bit different. So yes, that's the camera UI for the Galaxy Note 8. So should you do the upgrade? That's the real question here. My overall thoughts is absolutely yes, you should. Here's why. Yes, you lose that little ability to switch the applications and multitasking by a little click, and you lose a couple other things like device maintenance and the Edge panels, but Edge panels are not gone, so they're still here, which is great. Also, the camera no pro video mode, but all the other benefits outweigh the cons that Samsung removed. I think they'll bring a couple of those back, maybe. We'll have to see. But the night mode is great. The ability to have everything looking consistent, the ability to have your phone operate a little bit snappier, a little bit smoother than before, and look like the latest and greatest Samsung S10, S10 Plus, and upcoming Note 10 is excellent. Overall, there's just way more benefits to this than there are cons. So I do really love the One UI for the Note 8. And what makes me so excited about this is that if you were waiting on a Note 10, you now are good to go until it comes out, or if you're waiting on the Galaxy Fold, you got a month or so on it if you had to unlock US Note 8. If you had the Note 8 and it had the One UI update for a while, share your experience, what your battery life has been like, what it's been like for you. It helps users to see if they're gonna go ahead and do this update. So that's it for me. I will catch you all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.